My goodness.
Welcome back to a windy and snowy Winterberg in Germany. It's the second of 4 heats of the two-man bobsleigh World Cup in the BMW FIBT World Championships. And as we get ready for the second heat, the snow has returned and with some wind backing behind it as well. Hello everybody, I'm Martin Haven. Alongside me is our bobsleigh analyst John Morgan. And John, the snow seemed to have died out towards the end of the first run. There was still speed in the track, but boy, would you look at it now.
Well, this is Winterberg, and it is winter, and the snow has come down harder. The wind doesn't seem as bad as it was early on, but we still have a hardy bunch of fans that are out around the Kluvine stands. The track at the start is perfectly covered in the pit area, as you can see from all the sleds. And first heat, and boy, was this some first heat.
One of the craziest heats of bobsleigh I think I've ever seen.
Zalmas, he started real late, Latvian third sled. Well, he came down and blistered the track late in the run, shocked everybody, but I sort of like what he did in practice, so I was expecting him to do well.
Second place for the junior world champion, Richard Osner, only driving for the first time this year in a bobsleigh. He started 30th of 33 sleds. He came in 400ths of a second off the lead.
20-year-old kid, unbelievable. First ever trip in a major event. And, well, this is what we expect here. Francisco Friedrich and his brakeman, who, great start. They started 4th in the heat, and he blistered the field. I mean, he looked like he was going to be all by himself up on top of the leaderboard.
Came in as the junior world champion 2 years ago and won the senior world title at the age of 22. There's now a 20-year-old breathing down his neck, looking to repeat history at his expense. Well, there's the fan club, the friends, the family, all up from Altenburg, from Pirna, just outside Altenburg, Francesco Friedrich supporters. But the weather here, now that's going to play a part in anybody's race. As the first few sleds went down, the weather got a little snowier and windier, then it seemed to just get a little bit better, and again that could happen. We've still got 33 sleds going in the second heat and in the third heat if they safely complete the course. It's only in the fourth and final run that it'll be cut to the fastest 20, and even at that stage, John Morgan, we might still have some big names desperate just to make the cut.
Well, it's great for the skiers adjacent to the track. Most of those people are Dutch, here in the Dutch Alps. And we're getting word now, we might have a little delay up there. They're sweeping the track, but we've also heard there's a timing issue.
Yes, it seems as though the timing eye at the start beam has malfunctioned in some way, and they are desperately trying to fix that. So what about this Winterberg track? Well, built and opened in 1977. It's one of the best known in the business. But getting down, it's not a problem. Getting down it fast, that's where the genius lies.
Especially where they cut the ice in the track. It's so perfect. And the guys are all going a second and a half slower than they did in training. Nowhere near the track record, over 2 seconds off the track record. And the start, as it is on every track, is important. Even more important here, but watch when they get in. This is the zero curve. They call it a zero curve because they put it in 8 years ago after the track was built in 1977. Omega, real slow speeds as you come around this Omega. G-force is not very strong, but you must accelerate. Don't steer. Quietly with the steering handles. And then as you get down to curve 9, this is where it gets tricky. This is where the G-forces start to come up around 5 Gs, and that tremendous emphasis on aerodynamics as you exit this curve, and you exit the curve into a 3-corner labyrinth at the bottom. Real quick, tight curves. G-force is extreme, but it really is a max on the suspension system on the sleds. And you have to get through here without steering. And you do have to steer a little bit. And as you go to the finish, uphill, well, the track in Winterberg, very easy to get down, tough to get down fast, as you said, Martin.
So here's how they lie after the first of 4 heats. The world champion, 400s ahead of the junior world champion, who's now 4 years younger than him. Ugi Salems, Latvia's #3 guy, and Yeonjung Won of Korea right in the mix as well. Johannes Lochner, another new German driver this season, he lies 5th. birthday today for Maxim Andrianov, 27 years old. He's 6th. You're kidding me. That's the best birthday present anyone ever gave him. Oskars Melbardis, the World Cup champion in two-man lies, only 7th. And Rico Peta is the better of the two Swiss drivers in 8th, ahead of junior world champion medalist Oscar Kibermanis and Alexei Stulnev of Russia. Bert Hefty, who's won multiple times on this track in two-man, only 11th. And look at the tie behind. Nick Poloniato, Loic Costed, Lamin, Deen. Then a two-way tie, Nico Walter and Nick Cunningham. And in 20th place, first off in this second heat, and I fancy not liking the look of this snow very much, former Olympic and world champion Stephen Holcomb from the USA. Now, again, all 33 sleds will go. And there are some further down, and you're looking there at Cody Basque, Chris Spring, the USA and Canada, and also in 30th place.
Shocking.
Yeah, Justin Cripps.
Check this out. Justin Cripps.
He has got to find something. He was the first man down the track today and just had a bit of a horror.
And he drew his number. Now, according to your World Cup standings, that's what you go up and draw, what number you want. So Melbardis went up, World Cup leader. He drew number 2. And then it went in order. 3 went to Friedrich, 4, 5, 6. When it came to 7th, Cripps went up, drew number 1. Boy, he wishes he would have stayed in the 7th position.
Or something, or stayed in bed this morning or whatever, because, yeah, it didn't go too well for him there. Stephen Holcomb, everybody warming up on the little bit of road beside this huge start facility here in Winterberg.
Johannes.
Yeah. Well, the Germans have got some great young talent. First and second, yeah. First and second separated by 400s. Lochner, 2600s behind. He's in 5th position. He's got a real medal hope as well.
This looks like definitely a track hold for this electric eye thing, yeah.
Well, we're waiting to see how long it's going to take to fix it. There are several options here. Of course, it is still, what's the time now? 10 minutes past 3 in the afternoon. There's a couple of hours still of good daylight, and the track is illuminated. So
yeah, great lights in this track.
We really could easily get this run done today. Of course, the women race tomorrow. Two more heats to decide their medals.
Yeah,
so there's tomorrow.
Well, there's
Saturday.
Well, the thing is that they're 48 hours. They got to, it's the first time ever the FIBT's had a 2-heat race, and then a day off, and then a 2-heat race. So you have the women the first day 2 heats, then the men the second day for the first 2 heats, and then the women the 3rd and 4th heat tomorrow, and then the men final 2 heats on Sunday, and then after that is the team competition.
Chatting to a couple of the athletes, I said, well, this is like a Europa Cup, 2 races in 1 weekend. They no, they're on consecutive days. You never get a day off. Yeah, so it's almost like it's
the Olympic schedule. It's, the Olympic schedule is 2 heats on a Saturday, 2 heats on a Sunday, or Friday, Saturday.
But again, not 48-hour recovery period between. So this is unique, the way they're leapfrogging from women to men to women to men. Now we're hearing the power has been restored at the start. Some kind of Frankenstein contraption. You heard the ding-dong of the start buzzer going. Now they're going to have to send more sleds down as forerunners to check that all the timing eyes are still working and everything is synced up. Because what we really don't want to do is send people off and then find out the timing system is completely haywire for some reason.
Then you got some waving of the protest flags.
Yeah.
Martin, the crowd here hasn't diminished. Good amount of people around. It was a great crowd yesterday for the women's bobsled event in a much nicer weather conditions.
Yeah, they lucked in.
This.
They lucked in.
1995, the World Championships were held here, 2-man and 4-man. It rained for 10 days. I was here. The Women's World Championships was held here in 2000. That was back when the women and men were on separate venues. In fact, the first ever Women's World Championships officially was 2000 here in Winterberg. And the Germans won the event over the American Jean Racine and Jen Davidson.
There's Ralph, the ice meister from Altenburg. He's been brought in to help with things. And Alexander Zubkov, the 2-man and 4-man Olympic champion. Now retired, of course. So we have no male Olympic champion in the field. Alexander Tretyakov will be here, though, who won the skeleton gold, of course, as will Lizzie Arnold, the women's skeleton gold medalist.
Gabby Kolisch was the German that won the World Championship here in 2000, former German luge athlete.
That was her day of days, her biggest day of her career.
Jean Racine of the United States and Jen Davidson led after 1 run. There was only 2 heat race then, and the second run they fell. Gabby Polish walked away with the first ever Women's World Championships. And then in 2004 is when the FIBT joined the tours, the bobsled and skeleton tours for World Championships, and the present format that we work with today, that all the disciplines, all 5 disciplines, are held on the same track, the same 3 or 4 day weekend.
It gives plenty of activity for the crowds. It's great for us as well because you get so much variety with the athletes. Good for the athletes too, mixing and mingling with different disciplines and the different sports. And of course that makes the team competition possible. That's coming up on Saturday, where you have a 2-man bob, a women's bob, a male and a female skeleton slider, and all of their times per nation are added together to decide the winning team. And that's something that's a little bit unusual, only happens a couple of times every season, and they were out training this morning for skeleton for that, because of course the skeleton World Championships doesn't start until next week. They'll be racing next weekend, and we'll have live coverage of every heat throughout this World Championship fortnight. Now we're hearing there's going to be an 8-minute countdown to the start. There's the Belgian girls at the top of the track. They were racing yesterday and will race again tomorrow. Saw some of the British girls up there from the British bobsleigh team as well. So, and this happened yesterday as well. A lot of the men came out to support the women. They're not even racing on the same day, not morning and afternoon. They're, you know, they're on a lay-by day, so they've got plenty of time to come out to the track and support their teammates.
Yeah, but there's a lot of teams that live close to this track in the hotels. The track's pretty close to being downtown.
Yes, it is. So 20 past will be the first sled, and time now 11 minutes after. So that timing eye, well, it wasn't a timing eye so much as an electrical problem up in the start facility. Something I don't think we've come across before. Well, all the way down this track, lots of fans, plenty of entertainment in the Kreisel. They had a band playing live earlier on during the break between the runs. But everybody pretty much in their winter woolies today, zipped up, because it's not just the snow, John. It's not essentially that cold, but the wind backing behind it means it gets into every possible nook and cranny. We open the door in the back of our commentary booth. We will be covered in snow within a few seconds, so...
Nice and toasty in here.
Yeah, just crank the heater up another notch. There's the grandstands over the finish building, so that's right down at the finish area. They'll be
right over us, right in front of us.
Yeah, part of the warm welcome for Francesco Friedrich and for the guy who came down so late in the heat, Richard Ursner, the newly crowned junior world champion. He won that title in Eagles, Austria, Altenburg, two weeks ago. We have the junior world champion in each of the 5 disciplines is allowed to take a wild card entry, so one that is separate from any other national allocation. So Germany had 4 sleds in the women's race, because Miriam Wagner, for the 3rd consecutive year, in fact, won the Junior World Championships, and for the 2nd time in her career, got the wild card. She got that in Samoritz in 2013. He can hide the bottle, don't worry, nobody spotted that. Especially not his wife or boss, whoever it is that he's trying to hide from. Quick trip out from the office. So Miriam Wagner was the wild card, and Richard Ursner the wild card in the 2-man race. And a new slider in the team competition as well for the USA. Megan Henry won the race off to be their 2nd World Championship skeleton athlete. Well, let's take a look at the Winterberg track then. 1,300 meters, one of the oldest, the 4th oldest artificial track in the business. Quite a good vertical drop, but it comes in stages because, John, the beginning is flat and then you get uphill as well.
It's not flat right here at the start. Once you get over this little crest, you got this curve 0 coming up. They put this in 8 years ago. It used to be a long straightaway all the way to the first curve way down there, which is coming up here. So now we call this curve 1. This was the first curve originally. That curve 0 causes a lot of hassle to the teams. And this Omega curve is pretty slow. Watch out here that we go uphill out of curve 3. We go uphill right here, so no mistakes allowed. Curve 4, we see some people hit this right-hand wall. Then curve 5, continue to accelerate. This is when it starts to drop off a little bit. 6, now into the Kreisel. Big whip around and look at the lines. You want to be sort of medium above it. Slingshot to the bottom. 8, Now, curve 9, this is tricky. We've seen some problems here in curve 9, not like we saw last year. 10, big G forces here. 4.5 plus G's of force, 3/4 combination up now called the labyrinth, and it's tricky down here at 13, then into 14, the finish curve, and you're going in uphill, so you could still lose some time here in the uphill section. And very simple to get down, very tough to get down fast.
That final corner, a little bit like Koenigsegg, the sting in the tail. We've seen many races won or lost there. Bert Hefty, the start record holder and the track record holder. He and Thomas Lamparter set the start record back in 2008. And that still stands. And the downtime record, 8th of December 2012. He was the winner that day here in the World Cup. And that was the race where he and Rico Peta both rolled out of the final corner to go 1-2 or 1-3, I guess it was, for Switzerland. Hefty winner 3 times here in the last 5 appearances in 2-man. But today, not a happy bunny, 11th in the first heat. And that Austrian flag showing you just how windy it is up in that covered start area.
I competed up there when there was no roof. No, you were just exposed and a lot of times raining. They did a fantastic job redoing the facility 8 years ago, I think it is. But, you know, crowd sections, bleachers, very comfortable placed Kluvine stands that are getting some good use.
Yeah, the coach's favorite, the waffle stand at turn 5.
You and I were there a couple of times when we didn't have any waffles.
I smelled them, but that was, I think there was enough calories in the air there for me not to need to eat any.
Well, right down below us is my favorite bratwurst stand in Europe.
Yeah.
I've consumed a few bratwurst over the years on that stand.
Yeah, that's the commentator's canteen, that is.
Joshua Bloom looking on there. Russians.
Alexander Kazyanov, he struggled in the first heat.
Johannes. Luckner.
Yeah.
Catching some moisture.
Yeah,
hydrating.
Catching flies there. Alexander Kazyanov, 22nd place for Russia. Yikes. Oh. There was some big surprises.
Like Gregor Birnbach.
Yeah.
Telling everybody, you can't believe how screwy this race is.
Yeah.
But great pictures. Super slow-mo up there at the start, camera 3.
Well,
the start pictures they're giving us are some of the most incredible angles. I can't wait to see it in 4-man.
First team on the ice. We talked a lot about Stephen Holcomb, didn't we? He was 7th out in the first run and just got pushed down and down and down to the stage where I'm sure he really didn't want to look at the TV at all.
This is the German. We don't know him. This is the German who's in 2nd.
Yeah. This is our new guy, Richard Ulsner.
He's doing a little visualization down the track. Look at the hands. He's got little handles he's driving with there.
Now you see the hand movements are quite exaggerated. When they're actually driving, you barely get more than a knuckle overlap. Yeah, you literally only move half an inch for a big steer. There's your Olympic champion, Alexander Zubkov.
He won on this track last time we were here in 4-man bobsled.
And you know what? I bet he's pretty glad he wasn't in the first heat today. That was some kind of screwy racing. Well, we're a couple of minutes away now from getting our first sled on ice, and it will be Stephen Holcomb. And I'm sure he's not looking out at the snow with any great joy. Rudy Rinaldi, the youngster from Monaco, will go off 2nd. He was 19th in the first heat. So the fast 20 are going reverse order, 20 down to 1. But then the remaining 13 sleds will also continue. So 3rd after the first heat, Ugis Salims, the 3rd of our Latvians. Oskars Melbardis, his teammate, will go before him. Oskars Kibermanis will go before him as well. And then 19th and 20th off will be the 2 Germans who are a hair's breadth apart. 0.04 of a second after a 1,300-meter run is
we'll
nothing.
Take a break. Then I'll go down and do some interviews at the top 3, and then we'll take a 5-minute break there to do the interviews, and then they'll restart 21 through the end. And in the end, I mean, you have Cody Basque, but Justin Cripps.
Yep.
Look at that, 30th place. And again, self-induced. He went up and drew. He says, I want the #1 start position. He came from like 7th or 8th. He's ranked in World Cup points. And then he decided to, I'm going to take #1. And, well, he took a chance. If there was no weather, he'd have been okay. But, you know, sometimes you are lucky, sometimes you aren't.
Stephen Holcomb of the USA gets the 2nd heat of the BMW FIBT 2-man bobsleigh World Championships underway. Carlo Valdez, the brakeman, And these two guys, 7th out of the start shed, only 20th fastest start. And that goes some way, perhaps, to explaining why they're at the bottom of the top 20. 20 down to 1, and then 21 to 33 go. All 33 sleds in this second heat. Martin Haven alongside me, John Morgan. John, they've got to try and get better than a 5:33 getaway.
I don't know if they're going to have a chance to do much better than that. That's what Holcomb's got, you know.
Oh, my goodness.
5:43. Wow. That'd be the worst start of the heat.
Well, now, there is a lot of wind and a lot of snow blowing around this track. There's been a start delay. Let's see what his time looks like.
He's got tremendous. I mean, he had great runs in practice. You know, he had that 15th, 18th best start, but then he'd be up in the top 6 or 7. One day, the first day of training, it was 4th. But that first run, 20th.
Better speed into the Kreisel than on his first heat.
This tap there, not good in 9.
Slower than his first heat.
Yesterday, the track got faster in the second run.
Speed at the bottom, 131.4 for Holcomb in heat 1.
Tap there,
130.5, a kilometre an hour down. That's no better. 57.10, 57.27. That's 1700ths worse. Well, he's the first sled down in this second run of the competition.
Well, I want to tell you this. Remember the disadvantage that our good friend Justin Cripps had being the first man down the first run.
I don't see how it can be.
I think Holcomb's at another disadvantage. He's a snowplow, and we're going to find out real quick.
They've just spent the last 20 minutes sweeping the track.
Well, they swept the track for 20 minutes before the Justin Cripps went down in the first run.
And they are sweeping before every single sled.
There's in the grooves. You know, it takes the grooves a while to warm up because we saw the track get faster.
Well, let's see. Well, we saw the snow stop. That's what happened. Rudy Rinaldi and Boris Van, the two 21-year-olds from Monaco. Rinaldi in 19th place after the first heat.
Watch the brake.
600ths in front of Stephen Holcomb of the USA.
Brakeman had a problem with his left foot as he jumped in the sled.
That's a little better looking load.
540. He's got 500ths advantage now in Holcomb. Similar start.
Well, they started 5:38 the first heat, so that's not quite as quick, and the first corner momentum wasn't good.
Holcomb was 1000ths better, or worse at the start. These guys were way off. Look at that turn right there, curve 3. He turned way too much.
Only been driving a couple of years. Holcomb been driving bobsleds for a dozen.
More than a dozen, 2000. That's 14 years behind that. The ropes. The Olympic bronze medalist from last year's Sochi Olympics. Boy, he's not bad. 11 to 1200s.
98.2, quicker than Stephen Holcomb as well.
He could catch Holcomb at the bottom, which would be pretty shocking.
That's where Holcomb's speed went away. 130.5 for Holcomb, 131.5 for Rinaldi. It's going to be very close. He's got speed in the final corner.
Okay, Steve. He should knock off a couple more guys. Bruno Mangeon on the right. French coach, Monaco coach.
Rudy Rinaldi lies in second place. And of course, with the whole field going, he could still end up getting pushed down below the top 20.
Hey, top 20 for him in the World Championships. This is a good result. Good week for Monaco.
Very high line.
Good week for Monaco, beating Arsenal. We hear Prince
Champions
Albert
League.
was at the game in Arsenal, so congratulations to Monaco for that. And this is a pretty good result no matter what right now from Rudy Rinaldi.
Rinaldi, the first man to win an Olympic medal for Monaco in the Youth Olympic Games. Next up, Maciej Luti from Poland. Came out 26 of our 33 sliders. 25-year-old with 26-year-old Krzysztof Tolkowski behind him. 400-meter sprinter who is new to the team this year.
Not bad start.
Well, we saw they really miscoordinated their start dreadfully in the first heat. Let's see if it's a little better this time. That's much better. Both men moving the sled together. That makes a big difference.
32 in the first run, 35. Well, that's about normal. Holcomb was 1000 slower.
Yeah.
These guys only 300 slower. He's got quite a lead on Holcomb. Should be about 1500s, 1800s right here at least. 20, yeah, that's. And the other way that he cannot match Holcomb at the bottom is to hit here. No, pretty good.
The secret of bobsleigh is not hitting stuff on the way down. Sounds very simple. In practice, it's much harder. 93.1, best speed we've seen so far.
Pretty good for Poland. finish in the top 15 or 20. Boy, look at this. I'm telling you, Holcomb was at a big disadvantage going first, just like Cripps was in the first heat.
98.5, 61.5 miles an hour, and accelerating hard now through the labyrinth. 130.4, a little slower than the other two sleds so far, but enough to take the lead. 57.01. That's only 0.02 of a second slower than his first heat. Well, we saw the sled in 30th place come down just 400s off the lead in the first heat. But again, look, where's the snow?
Now there's no more snow compared when Holcomb came down.
And, and it comes and goes at a moment's notice. There's nothing you can do about it. Holcomb's been jinxed by the weather on both runs.
The guy was jinxed, Justin Cripps.
Yeah, Cripps too, he had the snow, lots of it. Well, next up, Benny Meyer of Austria, 17th after the first heat, half a second out of the lead, and that's not bad. Marcus Sammer behind him, and Meyer had some great speed, really nice lines from this 20-year-old. Youth Olympic Games silver medalist. Junior World Championship bronze medalist this year.
I think this is Johannes Lochner's sled.
I think,
on loan from the Stuttgart Bobsled Club.
It's Johannes Lochner's old sled. 5:34.
A little drift. 61.25, the velocity.
It's good speed, yeah. Right in there. 200ths of a second in front of our current leader, Matthias Lucia Poland, goes behind. There's only 100 between them in the first heat. It's the smallest measurable margin that we have in bobsleigh.
Pretty good lines. Boy, he's lost an eternity of time.
So the track workers stepping in right behind the sled. 91.8, that's the lowest speed we've seen.
He's way off.
Well, it's a new sled to him. He's very unused to it, and it's starting to show, I think.
He does much better in four-man. He's had 3 top 10 finishes in four-man.
Wow.
For a 21-year-old driver.
He's going to lose half a second on this run. 129.9, that's very slow.
Yeah, not the same as fourth best time in a run. He drops 2 places behind Holcomb, behind Rinaldi. So, Benny Meyer.
He lost 0.4 of a second on that run. That was nearly half a second slower than his first heat.
Well, start time. 5:31 to 5:34. These are good lines here, but watch the back end of the sled. Gets over in the take-on. He wants to get over on the right side of the curve. That looks pretty good.
Yeah.
There's no speed, though.
Well, again, a sled you're not used to. Maybe the runner choice isn't quite perfect either for the sled or for the conditions. There's all that to factor in as well. Two-way tie for 15th place. Nick Cunningham of the USA and Nico Walter. Walter set the time first. Cunningham tied it, so he's first off.
Decathlete in the back, Alex Harrison.
Boise State decathlete in the front as well. 5:34 again, just a couple of hundred slower than their first heat.
Pretty good velocity. Anytime you get 62 velocity, that tells you they're great power step by the brakeman and enter into the sled with that extra move that gives you that velocity that you need, especially on this flat track up at the top. It's real slow up here, and no mistakes allowed. 93.2 is pretty good.
Well, that's much better than his first heat, 92.6. 98 in the first heat, 99.2. This is looking like a much better run from Nick Cunningham.
Cowboy from Monterey, California. Losing a little bit back here at the bottom. Speed's good, though, almost 132.
Than his first heat. Yeah, this is a good run from Cunningham, 56.63. Now, that would have left him in 4th place in the first heat.
Well,
yeah, there you go.
Well,
so Cunningham's been saying all season, I give my right arm for 2 average runs that were at least the same, rather than a decent one and a rubbish one. Well, he's had 2 good runs.
Watch the brakeman here. Does he hit this at the same time, or does he struggle? Oh, boy, does he struggle out of that
so
box.
deep there. Yeah, over-rotated a little, I guess.
Yeah, these are Alex, first-year athlete, so he's learning.
Driving it out there. That's a good run from Cunningham. That'll give him 48 hours of confidence. That might push him a few more up the order.
Here's our standings.
Well, again, Nico Walter at the top of the track. Nick Cunningham leads. They were tied after the first of our 4 heats. And Nico Walter, we wouldn't expect him to be down in 15th place. This guy's had a silver and a bronze medal in 2-man this year, 1 in 4-man. 6'7" Marco Hubenbecker behind him. This has been a big surprise at the start of the year from Germany.
5:32 in the first heat. We were really perplexed about that time. So he's one of the only guys that went better. We expected that, but I still thought he'd be down in the low 20s.
Well, if they're doing 28 now, then they probably should have done 25 or 26 in the first heat, and that's where you'd expect to find him. 800's the lead over Cunningham.
Should grow to 12 or 15 at the next clock, unless he finds some way to drive it into the wall. Only 9. I would expect it to be more. Cunningham had really good speed in the bottom part of the track.
Well, Walter is quicker, 93 kilometers an hour, 60 miles at 58 miles an hour.
Coming back though, 98.3 isn't what Cunningham had.
No, Cunningham was 99.2.
Yeah, so he's coming back. He's going to be red numbers here pretty quick. Got a 4.
Oh my goodness, little rocky exit there. 131.7.
Right to the 100.
Was faster
Either
by
way.
A fraction. 400th in front.
He held on the bottom. But that's not what Nico Walter's aspirations were in this race. He was definitely looking at a top 5. He's really disappointed with what he's doing right now. Hülkenberg has got that promotion around town. They got 2 life-size pictures of these guys pushing the sled. Him standing up in the sled with his helmet on, celebrating a medal. I don't know what track it was on, but look how big that 6'7" guy gets in. Watch his arms. Look at the size of the arms.
Yeah, almost drags him on the ice.
He's got to lift his head up to get those meat hooks in. Look at that. Now that's technique. Now watch him get buried. Hello.
Yeah,
that's the way to do it.
All of that gets into there. There's Matthias Herpfner, the coach.
Not happy.
Not overjoyed with that, I'm afraid. And in front of him, 12th in the first heat in a 3-way tie. Lamin, Deen of Great Britain with prime mover behind him, the big unit that is Simeon Williamson, a double Olympian at 100 meters.
You wouldn't think this guy's a sprinter. He looks like an NFL linebacker or second row for a rugby club.
Yeah, if he was
a big man.
If he hit you, you'd stay hit. 5:27 start.
Decent. He's a new guy in the sport. I'm impressed. When the sprinters come in, they're usually thin. Yeah. This guy's doesn't look like a sprinter at all. He's a big man.
Now, these guys were 400s up on Nico Walter from the first heats. They are 400s up now. They need speed.
He had some problems on a curve 0. Only at 4 to 4. That's good. He stopped the bleeding. Speed's good, though, 93.4.
Yeah, that's a kilometer better than his first heat.
Should open up here.
Yeah, 97.8, 99.2. This is good.
Real good.
This is an even more confidence-inspiring run from Lamin Deen. Holding together through the labyrinth. Lamin very wild in 12. Flops off 13. 1 kilometer an hour too slow at the bottom. It's going to be down to single digits.
Okay.
But
that's unbelievable. Yeah. If you would have told me Lamin Deen's going to be ahead of Nico Walter, I would have bet a lot of money against that. To beat Cunningham, I said, yeah, okay, that's possible.
How happy is that? He knows he's going to be no worse than 14th after the first day.
Way to go, Lamin.
2 confidence-building runs.
He looked a little suspect here, though. Look at the crossover there. Looked like a lot of energy going the wrong direction.
Got a little late into the labyrinth, and you're late all the way through then.
And, you know, remember, his Brakeman's first-year athlete, and his head's high. Look how high the Brakeman's head is. He's not buried down near the middle part of Lamin's spine. He's up there near the top. Gonna have to learn how to sit in that sled a little lower.
Hello, Sarah, Theo, Aria.
Forgotten the names. Loic Kosteg of France. Now, what a good result this was for him in the 3-way tie with Lamin Deen. We had a lot of minnows in amongst the sharks in the first heat. The French program you've got to regard as one of the small nations still.
Let's flash back to 20 years ago, the 1995 World Bobsled Championships on this track in the pouring rain. The French, Eric Allard, won a bronze medal for France in the 2-man competition. Shocked everybody at the time. It was the French first medal since the World Championships at Garmisch in '65.
Well, they had a slower start, less speed than in their first heat. Don't forget they were tied exactly with Lamin Deen. This is a 3-way tie.
Oh, he's way off.
Yeah. losing speed.
Quite, he could have dropped 3 or 4 places at this pace.
Actually, he's a little quicker now than he was in the first heat. Not as quick as Lamin, who had 99.2 there, so it's a slightly better run, actually.
Watch this, all of a sudden it went from red to green. I don't understand that.
He was 3,400
there it goes back.
He
Some kind of a clock problem, yeah.
Yeah, a bit of a flake of snow in the way. 131.6, better speed than the British Sled at the bottom, but still a third of a second behind. He drops behind Nick Cunningham.
3 places back. He drops behind Cunningham and Walter.
Well, that's the loose run he didn't want.
Still decent. Lost a lot of time up top.
First heat 56.93, second heat 56.90. Better run, just not that much better.
Yeah, I don't know where it is up top, but it's down below.
Well, a 5:40 start compared to their 5:35 in the first heat didn't help, especially when the Brits went quicker by 300. So they started nearly a tenth slower than the Sled they were tied with, came down 3/10 later.
Yeah, a little late down the last lap, but his speed at the bottom was decent. Again, something happened up top besides the 500 deficiency at the start.
Yeah. Well, next up, the third of our 3-way ties for 12th position. And this was as much a surprise, perhaps, as the French. Nick Poloniata of Canada, only a second-year driver with Brian Barnett on the back of his sled, who's been one of the big pushers for Canada this year.
Boy, Brian Barnett, watch the velocity here. 529, pretty good start.
They started at
got a
5:25
62.1. I'm telling you, sprinter from Edmonton, any sprinters with power like that really provide that velocity into the sled. Barnett, who was always sliding with Cripps until the King came back out and joined Cripps this week. This would be quite a scout for Nick Poloniata to be the top Canadian.
Oh, 1.3 kilometers an hour, quicker than his first heat. He's right on the tail of Lamin, just 0.03 of a second in it. This to be 12th, no worse. Little touch away there before he got to corner 10.
That's Brian Adams' music over the PA system.
700s back.
12th, fall back at least 1.
He's at the moment 3 spots behind Lamin and Nico Walter. Yeah, third place, 800s behind Lamin and
only 200s
behind Nico Walter. Yeah. There's 4 sleds covered by a tenth of a second. Deen, Walter, Poloniata, and Cunningham.
Well, Winterberg's famous for close races. I'd say we could see some close races for the medals. I don't know about the gold. I think Friedrich's got his hands on that trophy already.
Yeah, he only has a 400th advantage. He sneezes and he's going to lose it.
Nah, I don't know. I think that the weather influenced those first couple, the second, third places in this race here. A little skid out of 9, but hey, good run for Nick. Good start there. Barnett's a pretty powerful athlete.
Good day for them. Not a good day for this man, though. Bert Hefty, he was pretty quiet yesterday. We were a little bit taciturn during training when we rode up the track with him, but he knows how to win on this track. Unfortunately, it seemed to elude him in the first heat. He and Alex Baumann, though, second in the World Cup standings, 2 wins, silver medal and 3 bronzes. Their worst race, they were 5th. So they're a long way out of their comfort zone in 11th.
5:17 start the first run. 56.92 in the run at the bottom. So a little slower here at the start. Everybody's sort of been that way. But I bet you that 56.92 he had the first run, I bet you he gets into this 56.60. I bet you he rockets to the bottom.
We've already seen a couple of 56.50s. 57 for Lamin, 59 for Nico Walter. So the speed is there, waiting to be found. Then Hefty 1400s up.
He's got to get this out to 93.8, almost at a 94-kilometer mark.
That's 1.6 quicker than in his first heat.
Yeah, he went down third. He went down third. They were still plowing snow, I think, then. 99 kilometers, I thought that'd be better than that.
He was 97.5 in the first heat, so that's way better. 2/10 up, but the gap is not growing.
Yeah, he's falling away a little bit. This isn't as good as I thought he'd do.
He will be no worse than he ever.
56.38, those 60/100ths better. Is that possible? Yes.
Wow.
54/100ths better in the second run than the first run. he would have posted that time in the first run.
He would have led. He would have led
What's
by
that tell you about what's
900ths of
coming
a
up?
second.
What's coming up?
Well, like we saw yesterday in the women's race, after 100 sleds had gone down in training and in the women's race, there was still track record left in the track.
Look at the high line into Kreisel. Look at the brakeman's head bounce. Look at where the brakeman's head is, though. Watch that. Note that. We've seen some of the brakemen not be in that low position. Exit of Kreisel. Looks like he's on the wrong side of that straightaway. Crossover into 8.
Well, Hup Suisse, as we are contractually obliged to say at this stage. Next up, Alexei Stulnev of Russia. I tell you what, if Ben Hefty gets a medal from 11th in the first heat, 4500s back, that's going to be the best comeback since Lazarus. What about Stulnev, former Junior World Championship medalist? No, not him, that's Andrianov, the best of the Russians. Stulnev is second. There's only 2 of the 3 Russian sleds in the top 20. Big skid.
Big wind. See the gust of wind come into? 61.9, not that 62 magical number that you'd like, but his brakeman, we keep bringing up, his brakeman's sister won the 400-meter gold medal in London, so great track and field background.
Another long skid from Alexei Stulnev.
Well, he had to skid out of the 0 curve. That's costly to start with.
93.4, that's better speed than the last couple of sleds, but he's kind of dicing with Lamin Deen here. Ben Hefty's gone. Forget that. That's not happening. This is now about trying to stay in front of Lamin Deen of Great Britain, and I'm not sure.
Good speed at the bottom. He's coming back. He's coming back.
1600s back. Yeah, better speed than Lamin Deen. He's going to be in second place. Not the lead, but second place by 700ths over Lamin Deen and 1300s behind Ben Hefty.
The Looters looks on and contemplates.
Not sure what the Russian...
Look at the visor, though. Look at the visor. Yeah. Look at the little moisture on the visor.
Well, that's between that's like the old-fashioned rear windows you had before, heated rear windows. They have a second skin inside to try and stop the cold visor misting up inside.
Well, he could blame it on something. Look how low he is to the cowling. Look at the skid he's got. Look at the gust of wind come in here. I wonder if that affected him all. Look at this is the shot into Kreisel.
Late.
And watch him come over and hit the take-on. And then watch him go to the middle of the curve, which means you have to steer. But considering that mistake, he still did pretty good on the bottom. Good speed.
Still the second best Russian. Oskars Kibermanis, only the 3rd best Latvian, and we're now into the fast 9 from our first heat. Kibermanis in 9th place off 6 fastest starts. Well, he's only been driving, this is the end of his 3rd season, so he's not the world's most experienced. 5:17. Boy, did they up the ante.
Watch the speed. 62.3 speed. The Cathlete in the front seat here. 6400, 63.75. He said he has a Chewy. He's only 200s up at that start. That's not good. That's not good. That's going to be red numbers here. That's pretty good.
Only 300s in front of Ben Hefty.
He should have been more with that start. Now it's 0. Yeah, that's what he's going to continue to fall back. So Hefty's going to get another scalp here, I think.
Well, this is seesawing on the edge. 700s behind. 98.6 is good speed. These BTC Latvia sleds really produce the speed numbers.
Good lines here. He was a little problem down there in the first heat, not in the second heat.
Still in second place, ahead of Alexei Stulnev, so Ben Hefty moves up 1 further spot, but he is in front of Stulnev.
There's one thing guaranteed. He should be behind Hefty. You know, Hefty should be up challenging for the medals. I think Hefty might have a chance to move up.
56.50, that run he's done, by the way, would have left him second in the first heat. Fastest run in the first heat was a 56.47, and we are nearly there, and we've still got the fastest 8 sleds to go.
Look at the start, the athleticism to get in the sled. Watch the brakeman. In, arms together, should be together, not one at a time. So there's a deficiency. Now watch this, the arms should come up together. Oh, not as, man, you see that little skid there too out of the lines? I don't know if that caused it, but wasn't cohesive by the brake.
There is Oskars Kibermanis. 8 sleds, fast 8 sleds to go still from the first heat. Rico Peta with Bro van der Zijde. Rico Peta, not for the first time this season, the best placed of the Swiss sleds. The last man to win a 2-man World Cup race.
The brakeman is a beast.
Yes, he is. That's really helped Rico starting in the 2. Look,
5:19.
5:19, you kidding
Wow.
me? And he touched the wall again as he did in Heat 1.
62.5. This might be one of the best brakemen in the world, the back, and I'm sure the Dutch are, you know, you can transfer countries in a World Cup or World Championship season. In the Olympics, it's about passports.
Well, he's got 3 years to get a Swiss passport, and the way that he's performing.
Boy, the Dutch are, put this guy in the back of one of the Dutch kids' sleds.
Oh, now then, coming back. Ben Hefty might overhaul Rico Peta here. The gap went out to 1200s, back down to 9.
Down to 5, doesn't have the 99-kilometer speed.
Doesn't. Hefty 131.9 at the bottom. He needs 132.
I think he's going to hold on.
Oh, it's going to be very 132.5.
Speed. Where'd that come from?
Wow, great run through the final corner.
56.34.
Ben Hefty stomps out of the leader's box.
1,500 better than his first run. 1,500.
That is the fastest trip down this track today. Better than the world champion's first run.
But he's still a second slower than he's going in practice. Watch this. Watch the break. Look at that. You want to talk about textbook? I talk about the arms coming up. Watch this technique. You want to see how to get and load into a bobsled? You wonder why the guy had the velocity that he did? And he's 6'3", 250 pounds. Well, now he's on the back of the sled just hoping his driver negotiates a fast line down the track. And Rico Peta did.
But again, a couple of mistakes. Hit out of corner 0, big skid there. So there is more to come from Rico Peta and Bror van der Zijde. But
what a start.
When they found out what that start time was, they're loving that.
Boy.
So now our World Cup champion, Oscars Melbardis, Dalman Strayskins behind him.
Okay, put your seatbelt on. You got a couple very large, angry Latvian men in 7th place. What, 5'10"? 5'16".
5'16".
Good. Exit out of 0, 5:14 in the first run. I say angry Latvians, they didn't expect to be back here at 7. I don't know, I think he was the number 2 guy down the track. Oh, he's only 200s up.
Less momentum in the first corner than Rico Peta.
Yeah. Strange.
But can he find the speed further down the track?
Oh, he's pulling away now, though.
Yeah, half a kilometre an hour up on Rico Peta. 99 kilometers an hour below the Kreisel.
See what the speed is.
99.7. Wow, there we go. That is the fastest speed we have seen so far today.
I guess when you're angry, you get a chance to go faster. Yeah. He's going faster.
Don't poke him with a stick.
132.5. Whoa.
Well, same as Rico Peta, so the advantage stays at 1700ths of a second.
56.22. Wow.
Okay, track record is 55.4. We could get down to 55 flat in the next half dozen sleds.
Yeah, if there's no snow tomorrow, we'll see this track record go down.
Yeah. Well, look, he shakes his head. Mistakes from the driver.
I think he up top something happened because he didn't have the velocity that he saw he should have had with that best start of the second run. Look at the snow coming in again.
27 years old today, Maxim Andrianov of Russia with Maxim Mokrosov behind him. What a birthday gift he gave himself in the first heat. 6th place in Heat 1 of the World Championships. The best Russian.
5:32 problems. 5:32 again, but the speed 61 and change probably. 61.7. Half, almost 3/4 of a kilometer down at the start. That is gone. He's going to pay for that. Yeah, 1/4 of a second. Now, that could grow to 30/100ths before prize.
Don't forget, this guy's only done 4 World Cup races in his career. So he's still the new boy in the team. 3300s back.
Now, this isn't the second half of his birthday that he wanted.
It's better speed at the Kreisel than he had on his first heat. The gap should come down. 99.1, 98.5 in the first heat. This is a faster run than he had before.
Yeah, but it's everybody's faster.
Melbardis and Rico Peta and Ben Hefty have gone way faster.
Good speed, though.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with him.
Boy, he fell 10th best time of the run. He fell 5 places. Now we got some game on.
10th of a second faster than his first heat. He's done a better job. The others have just done much better.
But Peter did 5/10ths better.
Yes.
Bardis did 6/10ths better. To start, something happened here. Let's watch him get in. Watch the brakeman. Okay, now we got this arm thing going. Watch him get in, get down. Okay, what's he do with his arms? Cohesively? Yeah, that looks pretty textbook.
That's good stuff.
That's how you do it. But his skid, though.
Yeah.
Look at this. Something happened.
That's
I
related
the driver.
to the brakeman's backside hitting the floor of the sled, I think. Oskars Melbardis of Latvia leads from Rico Peta of Switzerland. Bert Hefty is third. Fastest 5 sleds in the first heat still to go. We've had 15 of our 33 competitors. So Johannes Lochner of Germany, 2600ths off the lead in 5th position, and he was 1100ths out of the medals in the first of 4 runs.
Okay, 2 young, very, very, very great athletes. Look how quick Johannes, boom, is in that.
5:16, fastest start.
62.8. These are 20-year-old, 24 to 20-year-old Germans. Or they gone young.
Yeah, but they've gone fast. Lochner 9th out of the start this morning, came down in 5th position.
His father last night. His uncle Rudy won the World Championships in '91.
Yeah, the speed
medal in
again.
Albertville. Oh, it's down to 0.
Oh, he's losing speed compared to his first heat. 130.4 at the bottom last time down. Needs 132s.
Oh, hard
He's
hit.
not going to get it. 131.2.
Kilometer now. Gonna fall at least 1.
Yeah, 1300s behind Oskars Melbardis.
Well, now we're seeing what we should see. We should see Melbardis up in the medal position challenging, and I think he's just put himself into
Not yet. 4 to go. Fastest 4. So Melbardis has the lead, but he has had the fastest run of the competition so far.
Kreisel. I mean, these are 2 great young athletes. Just a matter of time before this kid figures it out.
Well, look, he went 3200ths quicker in this heat alone. That's a big improvement, just not as big as some of the others.
Other teams. Bang, here is not a very good exit of 13. 3rd corner in the 3-quarter labyrinth.
Come on, big push!
So getting close to where the medals are going to be contested, no question about it. Is Yun Jung Won of Korea. 4th fastest start. They came down in 4th place. What a drive.
Look at the size of these guys' thighs, the 2 of them.
I mean, the Koreans went shopping for their athlete in Quads R Us.
Look at the power of the brakeman. Look at the technique. Oh, is that perfect?
Nice
521. Wow. Ooh, a little drift there. You know, the Koreans are so good at golf. And golf's a very particular sport. Like bobsleigh, like the start. You just saw the brakeman there. He's got 3 years experience in the sport. He looked at as good a technique as anybody we've seen. And I keep saying the Koreans have got a great chance to win an Olympic medal in 2018. I said that in the first game. I defended again.
They've got a good chance to win a medal here in the 2-man. They'll have a good chance in the men's skeleton as well. 93.1 kilometers an hour. That's enough to keep them still in contention. 98.9. That's a little quicker than Johannes Lochner. Not quite as much as Oskars Melbardis.
Still good run. He went at a good time, took advantage of it, put a great run. This is a great run. This is going to put him in the top 5 position.
Good speed at the bottom as well. 2nd place, just 800ths behind Oskars Melbardis, who is the World Cup champion in 2-man and 4-man, don't forget.
Athleticism, they show us the start again. You know, again, Koreans have emerged as the best. They've taken over women's golf, men's golf. One of their Korean athletes, I think, last week was 2nd or 3rd in the PGA Tour. Here's into the, I don't like seeing his back up. I see too much of the brakeman there. Of course, he's driving this is a Latvian sled. Doesn't know if it fits to him well.
Little high line. He climbs a little towards the end of corner 10 and pays for that in the 11
crossover. Into the snow.
Yeah.
He hit some of that snow there.
That's worth 100, maybe 2. As Melbardis demonstrates can stay in the leader's box with the fastest 3 from the first heat to go, including their teammates, Ugis, Zalims, and Intars Dambis. Now, these guys started in 16th in the start draw. Ugis Zalims turned 29 8 days ago.
Intars Dambis used to slide with Melbardis.
Yeah.
Look at the snow coming in, drift.
1700s in front of their teammates.
25, faster than their first heat.
Yep.
Speed 62 flat, 62.1. Good speed considering the start, 5/600s down. Probably the next clock, it's going to be within single digits.
Well, he had great speed all the way down. 93.3 kilometers an hour above the crowds. It was the fastest of all in the first heat.
He's probably going to be
he's going to need that again, isn't he?
Right
Still
to the
93.8.
Yeah, he's going to be the leader at the bottom. He's going to be great numbers here. He's flying.
Unbelievable speed he's getting out of this
Right to
thing.
the 100, still 99.
99.8.
Oh, that was a rough transition there at 9. He might have just blew it there.
At the bottom he had 132.0.
I think he got hurt in 9. Ooh, tap there too.
132.0 again, so he's
top
going to
two.
be behind by a couple of hundreds. A couple of hundreds behind Man Bobsleigh.
2 Latvians in the top 4. Wow.
Again, what a good run.
Considering the start deficiency, he was the better driver here.
Yep.
No problem at curve 9 though, Otis.
21 hundredths quicker than his first heat.
Watch how high he gets there. Watch the sled come flat. Look at the head. Look at the energy left to right. That set him up wrong for the labyrinths. Down here, he was still late. Look, he's in the flat part of the curve, crossing over. He hits the take on airborne runners.
Tenth of a
He's down
second
by
there.
200ths of a second. Right there was it.
It's going to cost him.
He's not happy with himself either.
Matthias Benisch down there from the Altenburg track, watching it to finish and getting ready for this young kid. Fastest 2 sleds in the first heat, both junior world champions, one 2 years ago, one 2 weeks ago, separated by 400ths of a second. This 20-year-old, Richard Olsner, what a story.
Listen to the crowd. I'm sure the athletes, boy, the brakeman is 5:32 is decent, but boy, was he flying on this track in the first run. Deficient start time.
20 years old, only started driving bobsleighs this year. 2 years ago, he joined the team. He was a
Look
brakeman.
at the wind come in.
600ths up on Oscar's
Late,
Malbardis.
he's late there in that curve, too much of it. 600's the last clock, should be close, down 100, yeah. Now he can still have a chance at the bottom with the same type of lines that he had in the first run.
There is a little more snow than where Malbardis was on the track.
Gusts of wind up there, too.
99 kilometers an hour is good speed.
He doesn't have
How
it.
close is he going to be? Needs 132 at the bottom. In the first heat, he had 131.6.
Drop 2 places. Still, great result. First day, coming out of 31 start position. 14th best time in the run. He fell all the way to 5th.
Yeah.
Christoph Langen said, well, we're back to reality with this junior world champion, but it's okay. Remember the name.
Tied with Rico Peta for 5th place with the fastest slider in the first heat still to go.
20-year-old.
Yeah. 20 years old, Richard Olsner. A first-year driver. Let's underline that as well. Been in bobsledding 3 years, 2 of them as a brakeman.
Look how quiet the suspension is on the sled. Good line there. Look at the exit here. 11 to 12, 10 to 11. Perfect crossover. He's really up high. I'm surprised
And
he's
it's
up
not
that high.
even his home track. He's from Dresden. Altenburg is his home track, as it is for our race leader from Pirna, which is about 12 kilometers down the mountain from Altenburg, Francesco Friedrich. He came in 2013 as the junior world champion and won the world championships.
Big gusts coming in. Advantage of 3200s here.
And of course, that's over Malbardis.
I think he's going to rock it to the bottom and just get a hold of the trophy. I really think he went down 3rd. First run. Oh, here it goes. I think he's just going to pull away. I think his first run, it was confusing that those other people caught. I think his challenge is Malbardis. Look at this, he's pulling away. He's going to have over a half-second lead here.
1.6 kilometers an hour quicker than in his first run.
Yeah,
This could be in the 55s.
He won the World Championships in 2013. I think we all smell another World Championship victory right now for Francisco Friedrich.
Still a kilometer an hour quicker than his first heat. 132 at the bottom,
Ridiculous.
132.5. Francesco Friedrich is going to again set the fastest time down the track. A 56.08 slide. He will have the over overnight lead and 48 hours to contemplate winning a second consecutive World Championship. You think he wants it badly? There's the fan club right above, look, just above the shot there. Francesco Friedrich, Torsten Margis. Well, Friedrich, the defending world two-man champion, puts in another big hit. Great first drive. He led by 400s over rookie Richard Olsner, the newly crowned junior world champion. And now he's opened up the margin. Olsner down to 5th position, 6th position, tied with Rico Peta, as Francesco Friedrich leads Oskars Melbardis by 46 hundredths. Now let's put that into perspective. Melbardis was 32 hundredths back in the first heat. Melbardis was down in 7th place, so he's moved up to 2nd, but he's lost a further 14 hundredths of a second in that second run. Boy, he's got to do something very special on Saturday to win this title. Ugo Salim's in 3rd, just 200s behind. Yunjung Korea in 4th. Johannes Lochner in 5th. Richard Olsner drops to tie in 6th position with Rico Peta. They had Hefty in 8th, up from 11th. And Maxim Andrianov down to 10th position overnight, but he'll be happy with that. Lamin Deen, not a three-way tie for 12th. He's in 12th on his own, ahead of Nico Volta and Nick Poloniato. Nick Cunningham in 15th place, the best US slider, ahead of Loic Kosterg of France, Matthias Lutti of Poland, Stephen Holcomb 18th, Benny Meyer in 19th for Austria, and Rudy Rinaldi in 20th place after a little disappointing second trip from the Monegasque. Still 13 sleds to come. Will be a 5-minute hold to allow us to chat to our top 3 and for John to get cold and snowed on down in the finish area. But then, why should he be any different from the fans? The fans are a hardy bunch today to be out here all afternoon. It's been pretty cold, pretty windy, and very snowy. Snow coming and going here, but mostly coming. So I have a little chance to talk to our top 3. A little bit taciturn Oskars Melbardis. I think he'll be happier to be 2nd than he was to be 7th. But 32 hundredths back was better than 46 hundredths back is. However, a silver medal is a silver medal. I think he might have a lot of thinking to do if he's contemplating claiming gold tomorrow. I beg your pardon, on Saturday. I beg your pardon, on Sunday. Friday today, tomorrow Saturday, Martin, you fool. Come with a bit of DJ Otzi at a bobsleigh track. Above the flags in the background with the blue bobble hat on, Marianne Thies, former 2-time world champion in women's skeleton, a track where she has found so much success, finding speed at the bottom. Lots of Russian Federation flags around the track as well. Loads of Belgian colours yesterday, the pink bobble hats. You see the Belgian girls up at the top. And we'll see them in action tomorrow. Saturday is women's finals day. So Heat 3 and 4 of the Women's Bobsleigh World Championships kicking off at 1:30 local, 12:30 Greenwich Mean Time. So whatever hour of the day, morning, afternoon, evening, night, that is for you, please join us. I think we're going to have a very entertaining race on our hands. It is definitely not all done and dusted. Well, let's get down and hear from our top 3. John Morgan is with them.
Okay, wow, exciting day for you.
Yeah, what can I say? Need better.
Well,
We try to better Sunday and then.
enjoy your 2 days off. Good start times. Surprise today. Okay, first run, maybe some weather problems. Second run, no? In a good position?
Yeah, it's a good position and need to work Sunday and
Unser
Yeah, I'm happy
Spurwurf
about
ist
the result.
gestartet. Bitte Vorsicht an der Bahn.
Well,
Bitte
good luck.
Vorsicht
Have a
in
good
der
sleep
Bahn.
for
Der
2
Spurwurf
nights.
ist gestartet.
Okay, Francisco, your first run, wow. But then the weather made things strange. But now in the second run, you had 2 great runs today.
Yeah, we make a good job today, and we had a best start speed, and so we can take the speed within the track, and so we had a very good time in the end.
So you're happy with your brakeman?
Yeah, very happy.
Good luck, guys. Have a good sleep.
And they should be happy as well. Won more two-man races in the World Cup this year than anybody else. Oscars Melbardis ended up as the champion, having done all the races, which Francesco Friedrich didn't, and having had a slightly better podium appearance. He was either first or second in all his races, apart from the one slack one in Koenigsegg when he was fifth. But it is Francesco Friedrich that leads Oscars Melbardis by 46 hundredths. Now, that's a Christoph Langen, Andre Lange style domination of the first day, but 48 hours, and who knows what kind of weather from now we might see a different prospect from Melbardis. However, Francesco Friedrich has gone a long way to claiming a second consecutive two-man World Championship title. He wouldn't be the first German to do it. Andre Lange claimed 2 on the bounce after the 2006 Olympic Games. Pierre Luders won back-to-back medals, 2004-5. Christoph Langen, 2000, 2001. Then he won the Olympic Championship 2002. So there's plenty of history in there. So for all the other guys, the remaining 13 sleds, they will all continue in the competition and through into Saturday as well. The field only trimmed to the fast 20 for the last run. So the 2 Italian Air Force athletes, Simone Fontana and Constantino Ughi, 21st after the first heat. Now, they were only 200ths behind Stephen Holcomb, only 500ths behind Rudy Rinaldi. So their target really is not Francesco Friedrich, it's the sleds that were just in front after the first heat. Well, 21st from the start with a 5:47 getaway, which was 1200 slower than their first run. They have not yet managed to close on Rudy Rinaldi, who's in 20th spot. They have now, though, 91.9. That's good speed for them at the Kreisel. Little skid just below. Speed going away of Fraction. Means he's dropped back behind Rinaldi. A little rocky in the labyrinth, just a little late. 129.4 at the bottom. So as he comes across the line in 21st spot. He's now 1800ths behind Rudy Rinaldi. Holcomb picked up a couple of spots with a slightly improved second run. And the Italian 57.12 in the first heat, 57.63 in the second. So that's half second worse than his first run, and it's really not what you want when you're trying to creep up into the top 20. And that unfortunately leaves the door open for several sleds behind. They're in a pretty close battle, and a little bit of consternation going on there with the Italians. Next up, well, the man who should be the lead Russian, Alexander Kazyanov. Kazyanov, 7th in the World Cup standings, the best of the Russian drivers, languishing in 22nd. Part of the drama was only 25th at the start, and 5.40 is slower again than his first getaway. 61.5 out of the first corner. That's a little quicker than the first heat. It's hard to imagine how he could be much slower than the first heat.
Well, it's pretty shocking to see an athlete like this back in this position. But it also tells you how screwy the weather's been.
Yeah.
We've seen some strange stuff in the first run.
Well, again, Kazyanov, 25th fastest. I mean, that doesn't compute at all, and that's really where all of their trouble lies. He's picked up a couple of places, from 21st place at the start up to 18th now, ahead of Stephen Holcomb. But even so,
yeah,
17th at the line, that picks up 5 or 6 spots, but he still needs a dozen to make it half respectable.
But he's a normal 10th, 9th place, 8th place guy. Exactly. So he's put himself in a position. He's back with the first draw, the 20 puts himself in a position to be in the top 20.
He's had 3 top 6 finishes, 2 4th places this year, so 17th in the Worlds is a long way shy of where he needs to be.
If I'm Steve Holcomb, I'm worried about that position.
Yep, Holcomb 19th so far, and we've got 2 or 3 other sliders who are out of position below the top 20. It's going to be a real catfight to try and stay in the top 20. Kazhinov disgusted with his day. Ollie Biddulph of Great Britain, maybe a little disappointed to be only 23rd off a 20th fastest start, but with Jordan Smallin behind him, they had a couple of rocky corners below the Kreisel. Yeah, if he can tidy those up again, he's definitely got top 20 potential.
Yeah, real rough curve 9 to 10. See if he can clean it up. Look how far away he runs from the Cowan.
They started 5:33, quicker than the #1 Russian team. Well, that's 5:41. That is slower than Alexander Kazhinov. And again, the way the wind's gusting, you can probably lose a 10th if you're running into the face of a bit of a gust of wind.
Yeah, up here, he was good. But curve 9, albatross for him on the first run. Let's hope he can improve.
See what speed he's got, 92.7. That's quicker than in the first heat. Up to 21st place, so he's already improving on his position from 23rd.
Right here.
Here we come.
Perfect. Oh, as I said, perfect. He hit the take on.
Hit the opposite way. He steered too much rather than too little, and he goes back down out to the top 20. 128.9 at the bottom.
So he's going to be thinking about that curve 9 for 48 hours.
Yes, he is. Well, he's in front of Fontana, the Italian, so he's moved up 1 spot closer. But he had all the hallmarks of being in the top 20 there.
2 times in a row, he's lost a half a second. So take a 40 hundredths better, and he'd be up in 18th place.
Well, if he'd only done the speed he did in the first heat, which was 12 hundredths quicker, yeah, he would have moved up a couple of spots.
Well, just got off at 9 like he wanted to, but steered over and hit the take on at 10. Now watch these lines, because he hit the take on at 10. And look at the runner. Look at the runners are pointing down. Now he's trying to steer back up. Look at their upper runner.
Yeah.
He's trying to steer to get back up. He's too low here, and he's going to get up. And now he's really in a pinball.
Now he's climbing when he should be level and steering down.
Now he's steering again. He's steering.
And that's where all the speed goes. Kreisel, corner 10. They're so demanding. Well, next up, Vugrad Jenovic, 23rd place, tied with Ollie Biddulph of Great Britain out of 33 sleds. In fact, they're in a 3-way tie with Jan Verber of the Czech Republic as well.
Okay, their nemesis in the first heat was the entrance to the Kreisel. He got the sled sideways, or else he'd been pretty good.
And that is a 10th slower than their first start, 5:51. That will be the second slowest start of the competition. Well, they didn't have a great cohesiveness between the two of them in the first start, and it's got even worse in the second.
The wind coming in.
Yeah. Well, the walls are so high on the side of the track that barely any of the sled is visible to the wind, but all the same, it swirls to slow around. Must be distracting. Must do something to the aerodynamics.
Has to have some effect, sure.
97.5, not great speed. He's not going to pick up any places at all. He may lose a few here. So he stays 24th at the line. Better speed than Ollie Biddulph, who wiped it all away on the wall in corner 9-10. But 57.54, that's a quarter second worse than their first start. Mind you, they started a 10th worse, so you kind of expect that. And look when Alexander Bundillo steps out of the sled.
6'9".
Yeah, he just keeps on coming. He keeps rising and rising. Get off that box. He's not standing on a box.
6'9". He's from Serbia, so he's a basketball player.
Yeah.
Nope, long jumper.
He must have had one heck of a long run up to get those limbs motoring. Next up, Jan Verber of the Czech Republic, 3rd man in this 3-way tie. We had two 2-way ties and 2 3-way ties in the 33 sleds. And again, look at Jakub Nosek behind. He is straight up and down the brakeman behind Jan Verber. But they got a good start, 5:29. They were 13th fastest starters.
lot of good drive down the track by the veteran Pau. Ooh, a little slip there too. And a steer around curve 0 and 61.6. Not very good velocity, especially in consideration of the start.
Well, still 13th fastest starter in a field of 33.
Yeah, people with slower starts have got better velocity, so.
Which is unusual, because with Jan Verber, historically, it's been the other way around. He's improved usually on his start speeds.
Question mark how much speed the track's got left.
Well, from 21st at the start, he's now down to 24th.
We had 25 or 30 skeleton sleds down this morning. And we have this 33 and 33, 6-year-old. We're going to have, it's probably the 58 sled down. So the track, is it holding up? Speed, not bad there.
Held up really well yesterday. Lana Meyer's got a new track record, the last sled down out of 100 in the day.
I think he's only 300s now behind the Italian. 1600s behind Ollie Bidoff.
Well, that was, again, over a quarter of a second worse than his first run. Look at the brake. The brakeman is galloping along. I think he's hurt himself. I noticed that from behind. He wasn't running. He was loping. Da-dump, da-dump, da-dump.
Yeah, didn't have a great gait. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Watch his arms here, too.
If he's not pulled something, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, and Reber, look at this. This is probably... Somebody's running too far there or something when they get into the skid out of those grooves.
Well, there are your World Championship leaders on the left, Francesco Friedrich, on the right, Torsten Margis, being interviewed by the German press as Cody Basque of the USA and Aaron Victorian get underway. Basque in his first World Cup season, his first World Championships, 26th place though. He'll be very disappointed with that.
5:32 start, which isn't bad. Better than he had the first run. 5:37 the first run.
Yeah.
So they made a big mistake at the start of the first run. Leo's not there.
They were 25th fastest in the first heat, 14th fastest starter, which is much more like where they should be.
Yeah. So speed, not bad.
He had a big skid off corner 0 though, so the Hasselhoff corner hassled him.
Boy, steered hard there at 9. 10. 11, 12, and 13. A three-corner combination they call the labyrinth, and he does not negotiate the exit of 13 very well.
The speed was lower than the first run, all the way down to the...
He's moved up into 22nd spot.
Yeah.
Moved up 3 or 4 spots there.
Yeah, he's moved up.
1, 2,
he's moved
3,
up from 26
4, 5.
to 22nd.
22nd, and now he's in reach. He's only 400ths out of the... He's only 800ths out of 20. He's got a chance to move up into the top 20 tomorrow. Now watch this.
Does he get his feet hooked up? Yeah, just on the cow.
So you think it's easy hopping in these things?
See that? Remember that happened to Stephen Holcomb in the first heat?
Now he's done this 2 other times this year. And
can't get his feet in around the D-rings.
And look at the brakeman had to wait for him to come in, and he's still, before they enter the first curve, he's still sitting down.
Surf was hanging up there on his arms, wasn't he? Waiting to drop in behind his driver.
Surf's a good athlete.
Well, Chris Spring and Derek Plug for Canada, again, like Cody Basque, 27th. You should take 10 out of that, and still they'd be disappointed. Again, 24th at the start. I'm wondering whether these guys also ran into a bit of wind at the start, because they should be way quicker than that. 5:30.
That's more like it. 24th best start in the first run. That was 13th.
Yeah.
And all things being equal, the angry Chris Spring and Plug should move up considerably.
Good first corner velocity, 62 kilometers an hour.
The Canadians have had a very disappointing year in the men's circuit. Only 2 medals. Justin Cripps, bronze medal in Courtesy.
Here we go.
Cunningham with a bronze medal in the Classic. That's it for the North Americans.
This is Peta, 98.4. That's good speed. He's 20th. He's 19th. He's starting to climb the order now. He's in front of Holcomb. Still in front of Holcomb. Speed at the bottom. 130.9. Not brilliant. The Labyrinth took something out of him, but he is in 19th place.
Yeah.
Stephen Holcomb in 20th.
That's much better.
Yeah.
16th. That's what you expect. You expect him to be in the top 10 or 12.
Well, 56.8. If he'd done that in the first heat, he would have been in 8th place, not 27th place.
Yeah, he was pretty good this run.
Yeah.
Chris climbs the wall on 10. Boy, he got high there in the exit of 10.
You think the weather was the same for everybody today? Not a chance.
Okay, Chris, get a chance to sleep on it. It's a little bit better, huh, Springer?
Yeah. He's just put in a run that was good enough for 8th in the first heat. So the track is still quick. Jurien Wesseling of the Netherlands, another young slider here with Igor Brink behind him. These two guys still in the foothills of their career, 25-year-old Jurien, 27-year-old Igor, and Edwin van Kalk, who retired from the sport just before Christmas. Won his last Europa Cup race, I'm pretty sure that was here in Winterberg. A track at which he's had so much success in the past. Now trying to inspire and coach these young Dutch sliders to the sort of levels that he found and Esme Campos found at the height of their careers.
Not a great start in the first run. They're going to have to improve their starts to have a chance. 5:39.
It's a little better. 29th in the first heat, 21st in the second heat in terms of the start.
Almost 62 kilometers speed. So.
And didn't wobble all over the track out of corner zero like in the first heat.
Yeah, correct.
You've got to treat it as a corner. It doesn't look like one, but it acts like one.
It's a hassle.
Yeah. Isn't it, though?
Look at the skid there. Into the Kreisel. Braking very well in the back. Slingshot effect here.
Speed not as high as in the first run. Still not quite on a par with his first heat. So he's losing a little bit of speed. Trying to move up the order. 27th in the first run. He was up to 22nd, but he's slipping back down the slate now. 24th, 25th at the line, 24th at the line. So he picks off Odi Bidov, Fontana of Italy, Verber of the Czech Republic, Vukradzjenovic.
He moved up 4 places.
Yeah. First World Championships for Jurien Wesseling, his rookie World Cup season.
Okay, look at the line. Looks like he's a little low here. Watch if him come. How high does he get on the exit of the curve here? Oh, he holds it down. So he's doing a little steering in there.
Bringing it down earlier,
and a lot of pressure.
And you know, again, we're talking 1/10 of a second and a guy that's only been doing this a couple of years.
Yeah, there's, you know, it's not the person that drives the most that wins. It's the person who drives the least, but it's hard not to drive at 80 miles an hour on the bottom part of this track.
But like everything else in life, it's where you do it that counts. Tonyon Kim of Korea with Yoon Lin Yoon behind him. Their Hyundai Sled lying in 29th spot.
Start nemesis for them.
Oh, a fraction slower than the 5:38 in the first heat. They'll end up around 27th, 28th fastest starters. Trying to keep himself tucked out of the airstream, but slightly wide eyes. First year in Europe for any of the Korean drivers. They have trained on the track here in Winterberg earlier in the season, which is why they've popped in and out of the World Cup regular races. Coach Malcolm Lloyd has made sure that they went to every track outside the World Cup this year before they did a World Cup race on it.
Pretty smooth. It's smooth sometimes, isn't fast. Speed's not bad. Boy, got up high and then drove down onto that finish curve. And then, yeah, he had a little problem with the finish curve. But he picked off.
Yeah, well, that was the better run.
Didn't pick anybody off.
Didn't pick anybody off. He got a 10th of a second closer to Vukradzjenovic.
He's only 1,400s out of moving up 3 places.
Yeah.
Well, this is a little late here. Hard hit. That's before 9.
1500ths of a second better in the second run than he was in the first, and that's all you want from a development driver. Improve, improve, improve. You know, he's not raced with the noise that there is up at that start area before, not in any World Cup race or anything else.
Okay, here's a good run coming up.
Let's hope. Justin Cripps needs redemption from this track today with King behind him, Lascelles Brown. Start draw number 1 they chose. They were 6th quickest starters. 30th place.
Well, luck of the draw. Well, he didn't draw. You know, it wasn't the luck there. He drew that number. He went out, took number 1, because that was the opportunity you did according to your World Cup standings. And the Bombardist won the World Cup. He took number 2, and then the number 3 came from the next guy. But the 7th place choice was Justin Cripps, and he decided number 1's available. I'm going to take it. It turned out to be a bad decision. And I'm sure he can move up 6, 7 places here.
Well, let's see what sort of speed he can get. He was faster in the first corner by 0.6 of a kilometre an hour, and he's 1.8 k's quicker.
Justin Cripps, who was flying all week long in practice.
In the top 20 already. And he's nearly 3 kilometres an hour quicker. Down the bottom, he only had 129, 132, 130.2. So that's not that fast here, but he is in 20th place.
16th best time of the run. Moved up. He's
Stephen
ahead of
Holcomb is in 21st. But even so, Chris Spring 19th, Justin Cripps 20th, Steve Holcomb 21st. Some weird signs going on here today. Well, that was 9/10 of a second better than his first run.
If he would have done that in the first run, he'd be up there in the top 12 or 14. Look at these. Looks like he's getting in a little late, though.
He would have been 500ths off 4th in the first run with that run alone. So the weather was not his friend. Derek Plug going to offer his congratulations, condolences, as does Chris Spring. They're right at the bottom of the top 20 after day 1. So Dorian Grigore of Romania, 31st starter, or 31st fastest at the start, 31st at the bottom of the track. Now, they really had an awful start in the first. There was no coordination between him and veteran Florian Krasuin.
5:46. 100 off Holcomb. Holcomb at 5:43. Holcomb's got the 27th best start time.
Yeah. That's got to hurt whichever way you look at it.
He had the 3rd best start at the Olympics. Look at that mistake. Oh, that's a major mistake. At top of the track where the speeds are slow. That's going to cost him 30 or 40 hundredths at the bottom part of the track. That little simple air before Kreisel. That wasn't smooth.
He's a kilometre an hour down on his first run, so he's losing speed all the way down the track. He's not going to move up. In fact, the chances are he's going to move back here. 31st out of 31 sleds. He was only 500ths in front of the young Czech Radek Matusek. Now, I'm not sure he's going to be in front of him after this heat. Well, it's 2 sides to the coin for Romania here. The men are struggling. The girls are having a really great weekend so far.
Look at this skid, curve 3 to 4. That is the worst skid in the exit of that curve we've seen yet. It was curve 2 to 3.
Yeah. And you're going uphill there towards corner 4.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't afford
parachute.
Yeah, definitely. Radek Matusek of the Czech Republic with veteran Dominik Suchi behind him. These guys just 500ths of a second behind Romania's Dorian Grigore. And I think they've got every opportunity here to pull out a result. They started the same as the Romanians in the first heat. See if they can go quicker this time. And this is what it's about at this level of their development and at this end of the draw. It's all about beating those that are around you. 5:34, 10th of a second, 1100ths quicker.
Better.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Well, again, they didn't have a very well synchronized start.
Well, you know, bobsledding is about consistency. When you go 1100ths better, that tells you how bad you did in the first run. Now look at the articulation, the split in this sled. It's got the black rubber separator, but it doesn't seem to me that this sled's set up right. It seems to me the split is, or maybe it's just that black strip that's on the sled.
Yeah, it might be. It kind of draws the eye, doesn't it? Matusek, a little quicker than the first heat. In fact, a whole kilometre an hour quicker than the first heat, and way quicker than the sleds in front of him. He's already moved up to 28th place ahead of Jan Berber. He's just leapfrogged Fontana of Italy for 27th. It's a good second trip from him, 27th spot. He's just moved up from 32nd. That's 6 places he's picked up in one trip. Yeah, no wonder he's happy with that.
Start time, 1100's better. That'll do it, guys.
And the drive, 6300's better down
Look at
the
up
track.
and down, though. He started in the middle of the curve. He's way up the highest line there, the highest runner marks there. He just did those the top mark that you see. And now he leans out of the curve to get off it a little late. Crossover to the take-on to 14.
I want to bet Ivo Danilevic said, "You're steering too much, do less." He did less.
Well, not bad when you have 1100's better start. That's worth 3300's at the bottom.
Yeah, and he was 6/10 quicker. Last of our sleds today in this two-man day one. Drazen Cilic of Croatia with Mate Metsulic behind him. Both of these guys, great men for Ivan Sola. Tall figure just stalking out of shot on the right-hand side. 33rd fastest start, 33rd at the bottom. See, they got their burn suits on under the race suits. These guys still really in the very early stages of Drazen Cilic of his driving career.
Drazen used to drive, or used to ride with Ivan Sola.
Yeah.
He's at the top of the track. He does everything. Team. He's trying to launch a Balkan Championships. He wants to promote the sport more in Hungary, Croatia, Bulgaria. He's got a good concept. He's just falling off some of these curves, maybe he's late.
Well, compare and contrast with the best in the field, and you know that he's got some more time to learn on ice.
Low, boys, he's steering. You have to steer hard here to get off this next curve.
Wants to thread it through, and he does. Speed at the bottom, 122.3. And that is 2 kilometers an hour down on his first heat. 59.78, there's Ivan Sola on the right.
Doesn't look happy.
Looking pretty impassive. That was 3,700 slower than the first run from Drazen Cilic. It really got away from him quite early on in the run. Very dramatic from 5 down through the Kreisel. Labyrinth wasn't exactly tidy. This is a bit of an untidy run all the way around from him. He's so low there. His upper runner is in the lower runner marks from all the others.
Look at the runner marks. Look at him trying to turn off the curve.
Because
You
he's
talk
heading
about
for the
steering.
woodwork.
Look at the, wow. Now that
was a self-preservation steer. He felt himself going up to the woodwork and rolling over in 10. I'm not sure anybody wants that. So from our 31st to our first slider, Francesco Friedrich, the world champion, leads by nearly half a second after day one of 2. And look at that. One of Korea in 4th place, but there's 200s between silver and bronze. The Korean, Johannes Lochner, Rico Peta, possibly in medal contention. Beyond there, it's a real dogfight. So many close battles going on. We have no ties in the field now after having no fewer than 10 athletes tied in Heat 1. I expect we'll have more ties come the second day of competition. And that will not be Friday, that will be Saturday here in Winterberg. And the first of our 2 heats gets underway in the morning. We have the teams competition in the afternoon. So it's 09:30 Greenwich Mean Time, 10:30 local. Well, it was sunny yesterday and mild. It was snowy and windy today. Who knows what Winterberg will bring for the remainder of this World Championship fortnight. Whatever it is, join us live for all the action. Until then, from all of us here, auf Wiedersehen and goodbye.